The American dream is dead. 70% of Americans can't afford a median home. That's 70%. The median household income is $79,000. But to buy the median home today, you'd need $124,000. That's a 57% affordability gap, the largest in US history. We've blown past 2008 levels, and this time, the crash coming could be 10 times worse. Back then, the problem was bad loans. Today, it's worse. The money itself is broken, because this isn't a housing crisis, it's a currency crisis. And here's the thing, most people still don't see it coming. Before we dive in, most of you watching right now aren't subscribed. If you find value in these breakdowns, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel grow, and you can always change your mind later. Back in 2020, the average monthly mortgage payment was $1,116. Today, $2,145. That's a 92% jump in just 5 years. Nationwide, prices are up 53%. Miami, 80%. Tampa and Charlotte, nearly 70%. But wages barely moved. Charlie Bolello calls it the worst affordability crisis in history. To qualify for the median house today, the average American family would have to spend nearly half their income. Half. That's the highest burden ever recorded. And it's not just numbers on a chart. It's the reason millennials are renting into their 40s. It's why young families are crammed into apartments instead of houses. The system turned homeownership from a milestone into a miracle. Why? Because homes stopped being homes. Broken money forced people to treat real estate like a savings account. Think about it. When the dollar dies, people flee into anything that looks like it will hold value. Stocks, houses, even collectibles. The result? Homes became financial assets first, shelter second. But homes were never meant to be speculative instruments. They were meant to be lived in.
Bitcoin is going to demonetize real estate. A house is not supposed to be a savings account. It's not supposed to be what you exchange your effort and labor for. You acquire a house to consume it and live in it. It's not a money. Unfortunately, because the world has been robbed of money, robbed of the market good that they're supposed to save and exchange in, and that market good has been manipulated and debased and controlled, people have had to resort to things like real estate as money. And so real estate is distorted. It's artificially expensive. And so Bitcoin will dematerialize that for all of the money that's in real estate, not to consume it, but rather to save in it. That money will go to Bitcoin over time. And what that will do is it will drive the Bitcoin price up and it will drive the real estate prices down. Guys, when I got into Bitcoin, my dream house was 100,000 Bitcoins. And then some years later, my dream house was 10,000 Bitcoins. And then some years later, my dream house was 1,000. And then some years later, my dream house was 100. And then some years later, my dream house was 10. Now, the average American home you can get for 3-4 coins. So I think within the next decade, you can get a median-sized house in the United States for less than 1 Bitcoin. And so the best way to become a homeowner and a purchaser of land, of real estate, is to stay humble and stack sats.
And Jack Mallers says it best. Bitcoin is going to demonetize real estate. Right now, homes are artificially expensive because fiat money is broken. Over time, Bitcoin drains out that store of value premium, shifts the savings function into Bitcoin itself, and restores housing to what it was meant to be. That means prices come down, speculators get flushed out, and families can finally afford to live in homes again. Sound familiar? It should. We've been here before. In 2008, the problem was subprime loans. Banks handing out mortgages to anyone who could fog a mirror, packaging those toxic loans into financial grenades and selling them around the world. When the music stopped, the whole tower collapsed. Foreclosures, bankruptcies, bank runs, and millions of families wiped out. But 2025 is different. The loans aren't toxic, the money is. Mortgage rates have exploded from 2.1% in 2021 to 6.8% today. That's more than tripling the cost of borrowing in just a few years. Pair that with home prices up 45% since 2020, and you've got a trap no buyer can escape. It's why pending home cancellations just hit 15% in a single month, the highest level ever. It's why in Miami, homes now sit unsold for 83 days, double last year. And it's why sellers now outnumber buyers by more than 500,000 homes. That's the largest gap ever recorded in American history. And here's the difference. In 2008, the system cracked because the banks were reckless, but the government could patch it with bailouts and money printing. This time, the rot goes deeper. It's not just the banks. It's not just bad loans. The money itself is broken. And when the money is toxic, there is no bailout big enough. This isn't 2008. This is 2008 on steroids. Want proof that the system is broken? Look at the age of first-time homebuyers. It's now 40 years old. Your parents bought a house in their 20s. Your grandparents? Even earlier. Today, an entire generation spends their prime years renting, pouring money into someone else's pocket, while the dream slips further away. It's generational theft hiding in plain sight, and the numbers tell the story. Back in 1930, a house on Miami Beach cost $100,000. That same house today, $100 million.
Time risk. Pretty much, on average, the currency collapses every 30 to 40 years in most political jurisdictions for all of human history. And if you get a currency to last for, by the way, the best currency of the last 100 years is the dollar. The U.S. won every war of the 20th century. My house in Miami Beach traded for $100,000 in 1930. It would trade for $100 million 100 years later. 99.9% collapse in the value of the dollar. The winning currency of the 20th century, the best currency in the world, lost 99.9% of its value. That's a winner.
Michael Saylor drives the point home. Even the so-called best currency of the 20th century, the US dollar, lost 99.9% of its value in just 100 years. That's not failure. Can you believe that that's considered the winner? The dollar beat every other currency on earth, and it still collapsed in purchasing power almost completely. And that's the point. Fiat isn't designed to protect you. It's designed to bleed you slowly. Your savings lose value year after year, while you get locked into decades of debt, slavery, just to stand still. And when the system inevitably cracks, the elites make sure they get theirs. In 2008, they bailed out Wall Street. In 2020, they bailed out hedge funds and asset managers. And every time, the same story. Profits are private, but the losses get dumped on you. They walk away richer. You're left holding the bag. But here's the flip side. When you measure monthly mortgage repayments in Bitcoin, it's the opposite story. In 2020, the average monthly repayment was 0.12 Bitcoin. By 2025, that's now down to just 0.02 Bitcoin. That's an 83% discount in 5 years. On average, repayments get 50% cheaper every 2 years when priced in Bitcoin. Fiat makes the dream slip further away. Bitcoin pulls it closer. And here's why. Bitcoin strips out the artificial store of value premium. It removes the distortion that turned homes into investment assets instead of shelter. It pushes the speculation into Bitcoin itself and restores housing to what it was always meant to be, a place to live, not a piggy bank for the wealthy. And slowly, even the mainstream is waking up. Regulators are now being forced to include Bitcoin in mortgage assessments. That means Bitcoin wealth can't be ignored when banks decide who qualifies. For years, you could be a millionaire in Bitcoin, but still denied a basic loan. That wall is starting to crack. Banks know they can't fight this forever. Counting only fiat while ignoring Bitcoin makes the whole system look broken. It's not a matter of if they adapt, it's only a matter of when. And as Bitcoin adoption grows, the dream of home ownership doesn't drift further away like it does in fiat. It gets closer, year after year. But don't miss the bigger picture, because the housing crisis is only one symptom. The real disease is fiat money itself, and it's on borrowed time.
At some point, fiat currency is going to fail, in my belief, in my opinion. So which snowflake is going to cause the avalanche to break loose and have it fail? I don't know. But there's no do-over. You know what I mean? You don't get to say, oh, I'm sorry. I kind of wish I wish I'd gotten out of the way before that avalanche, broke loose and came down and smothered me.
What does that look like, Larry? Like when fiat fails? Because I feel like that is ugly.
It is ugly.
People,
it is ugly.
I'm assuming you've heard of the book Mandibles.
It's in the book.
Right? There we go.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, I hope so. It looks a lot of different ways, Nico, and it doesn't.
And what makes you so confident it's going to happen?
Well, I'm confident it's going to happen because of the math and because this is a superior technology and because more and more humans are adopting it, and people always gravitate towards the best solution. And we've now got 15 years of evidence that it's the best, 16 years of evidence that it's the best solution. But in terms of the how it happens, it doesn't have to be Mandibles. I don't think it will be. It'll take a bit longer. It can be more gradual, which is in a funny way, we want it to go up faster, but in a funny way, it's a good thing. If we get more people on board, give more people time to adapt. The second thing is, as I talk about in the book, this doesn't have to be a brutal, total collapse. We can do a currency reset, okay? This has been done before. Roosevelt did it in 33. I mean, we can basically transition back to a sound money currency. The problem with America today is that the money is unsound and the money is broken, title of Lynn's book. And therefore, the solution is to just go back to a sound money system. And there have been lots and lots of societies throughout the world that have had broken money. And what happens, what you see when you study them and read about them, is when they go back to sound money, they get better. Everything gets fixed, especially if we don't have a major war. If we can avoid having a major war, I mean, all that's broken here is the money. And so, now don't get me wrong. When I'm describing a curse, there will be winners and losers. The people who don't have sound money will lose on a relative basis. The people who have a lot of unsound money stored in bonds, they're going to get creamed. They're just going to, but that's unavoidable. I mean, that's just the way that, because, the bonds and the commitments that have been made, they're not money good. They're not, the values are fake. I mean, just like in real estate right now, I think some of these very high-end real estate prices, they're just fake. Yeah. I mean, people are hiding in real estate thinking that'll protect them from inflation. But, do you really need a $20 million house or a $10 million house or a $5 million house?
It's ridiculous.
It's shelter.
It's ridiculous.
It's shelter.
And it's really stolen my generation's ability to buy
that's
home.
right.
It's been
That's
just
exactly
complete, flat-out theft.
Yes.
And the frustration. I have friends who are extremely successful, and they're renting.
Right. My kids are all in their 20s, and they're like, Dad, how am I ever going to buy a house?
As Larry Lepard makes clear, every fiat currency in history has failed. There are no do-overs. Whether it collapses suddenly in an avalanche or bleeds out slowly over decades, the math is inevitable. And when the reset comes, those holding inflated real estate and government bonds will be the ones left devastated. And that's the warning most people don't want to hear. If your savings, your retirement, your entire future is parked in fiat assets, you're playing a game that can't be won. Broken money already stole one generation's shot at homeownership. Without a change, it will steal the next. But Bitcoin flips the script. It doesn't just give people a way to protect their savings, it gives them a way to reclaim their future. And here's the deeper truth. Housing, wages, healthcare, retirement, inequality, every issue that divides us, every crisis politicians argue about, they all trace back to the same broken foundation. Unsound money. Fix the money and you fix the system underneath everything else. This isn't 2008, it's worse. Back then, they broke the banks. This time, they've broken the money itself. The elites stole your future once. They're about to do it again. And every year you cling to fiat, the dream drifts further away. Houses get smaller, debt gets bigger. The finish line moves faster than you can run. But in Bitcoin, the trend flips. Every cycle, homes get cheaper. Every cycle, your savings stretch further. There isn't a housing crisis. There's a currency crisis, and Bitcoin is the lifeboat. Stack sats, own the future. And hey, if you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly not just watching crypto headlines. You're serious about understanding what's really going on. That's exactly why we write Crypto Nutshell. It's our free daily email read by tens of thousands of investors around the world. 5 minutes every morning before the market opens. We cover the biggest stories, the sharpest predictions, and the on-chain data that actually matters. It's fast, it's free, and it will keep you one step ahead while everyone else is still arguing in the comments. First link in the description. Subscribe today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.